How's it going, everyone? A few weeks ago, I received another fun email. Much the same as last year from Hasselblad, and they wanted to send another camera.
Seems like a lot of people have received this.
So this time, they have sent me the Hasselblad 907X and CFV 100C. So this is a medium format digital camera in the style and design of some of their heritage cameras going way back decades. And it's an interesting camera. Let's get into it. All right, so kind of much the same as last summer, and I'm hoping this might be a summer tradition. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? They've sent the camera to me, and I'm gonna go out and test it and shoot some things. And generally speaking, I just want to use this camera in the same way that I use pretty much all of my other cameras, which is out and about getting lifestyle daily shots of my life in Japan. Now, they did actually send this camera to me about 3 weeks ago or so. So I've taken it on a few different places, some of my favorite areas around Osaka, some viewpoints around Ginza, which is where I am now, back in Tokyo. And yeah, I've got some images. I'm gonna share those through here, and hopefully add in some extra thoughts along the way, because this is an interesting camera, and I can kind of compare it to the X2D that I've been using for the last year or so, which is the very much similar hardware in terms of the sensor and processor and other things, but very, very different ergonomics and shooting styles. And I built up a bit of a thought and opinion on which camera I think suits me better. But I'll share some of that as we go. So in the Hasselblad system, I'm still only shooting with the 55mm f2.5. It's a very enjoyable lens. I love the perspective to it. It's very similar to the kind of lenses I'd like shooting on other systems. Of course, this is a medium format camera, so the field of view is going to be much wider than what I'm used to with my APS-C Fuji systems, and likewise full frame cameras and other stuff. If you want to compare field of view, this is going to be similar to something around like a, let's say like a 40mm, like, yeah, low 40s on a full frame camera. Similar sort of field of view, but build quality is super nice. Now, where this camera sort of differs is in the ergonomics. So obviously this is a very interesting looking camera, kind of box style. So old style cameras, we would very much be using them waist level, and this definitely carries on with that tradition. There's no grip, there's no viewfinder, your shutter button's down here on the bottom right. And in terms of the camera itself, it's kind of built up of two parts, or three if you include the lens as well. Or you could even get adapters and use different brands and other stuff. Then you've got the 907X, which is just this thin little bit here. That effectively is the lens mount that connects it to the digital side or the digital back, which is the CFV 100C. So this part here, kind of like a solid sort of block at the back. This is what houses that giant sensor, 100 megapixels, and yeah, the whole thing just kind of combines into this form factor. This back, you can actually add onto some of the older film cameras and convert some of that older equipment into a new digital camera, which is really interesting. Now, unfortunately, I don't have access to any of the older cameras, so I'm not really going to be able to show that. Some standout features with this camera, just like with the X2D, this has got a built-in SSD. It's got a 1TB SSD. If you wanted to, you could add in memory card here, CF Express. I actually like to use the SSD. It's got a fast read and write speed, and likewise when you transfer later, when you connect to your computer, it's going to charge your battery because you're plugged in. So as a whole, the three parts kind of all combine, and that leads me to my first thing, which has been a little bit of a negative, or it's something to be cautious about, as I am with all of my cameras, and that's the fact that this is not weather sealed. So that's the one thing to be cautious of. Because of all these parts connecting, you got to be careful. Any amount of rain or dust or even high humidity could be an issue, and with a camera as expensive as this, absolutely. So much like with the X2D, one of the things I've been really enjoying with this camera is all the different crop modes that are available, and I am loving the X-Pan crop. That's the, what is it, like 65 by 24 ratio, something like that. Yeah, super wide, and using the screen on here, of course, you can preview it. The nice thing, of course, is those raw files, when you take them into Lightroom or whatever you're editing with, you do still have the full raw image, and then with the metadata, it applies the crop. So you can recrop it, you can reprocess it, but it's the composing on the camera that makes a big difference. So being able to actually see your crop as you take the images. Yeah, just to get a nice field of view that's different to the usual 4x3 or 3x2 that you usually see on cameras. It just makes you see the world differently when you're viewing it that way. I love this area because of the amount of Shinkansen shots you can get. So the CFV 100C takes 100 megapixel images, and they are 16-bit. So that means that every image is going to be around 200 megabytes or so per raw file. If you're shooting raw plus JPEG, as I often do, it's going to be close to 250 megabytes. So just be aware of that if you're going to be snap happy, because 5 shots, and that's a gigabyte. 50 shots and you've got 10 gigabytes already spent on your storage space. And storage is cheap these days, but you eat through it. So lately, well, I say lately, I'm always fascinated by it. Lately, I've been enjoying getting a lot of sort of abstract images of the crossroads in Japan. Been up to a few viewpoints because as soon as I got this camera, I was like, I got to take it high. You know, you got such a high resolution. You want to go up some high vantage points. You want to crop in, do all sorts. So I've been around this area a few times. Also in Osaka, I went up some buildings, got some good views. And I'm just always drawn to the black and white, just clean, like it's so clean. Like I just love that sort of aspect to the roads here, and the black and white nature to it in a full color image is really cool. So I've been playing around with that, playing with the light as well, and yeah, just kind of enjoying slowing down a little bit because this camera forces you. You can't be fast with it. As much as I try to, realistically, it does slow you down. And in fact, I'm just going to get another shot here because bang, look at that. Look at that, bang. Oh, I'm loving the wide view today. Yeah, so good. It's one of the things I've loved about Hasselblad cameras is how good the screens are. Like a smartphone. Like, yeah, just super responsive, but also large, and the resolution's amazing. And then when you come to the actual design of it, like it's just really clean. Like when you go through some of the menus, everything's just nicely designed. Like it's got good typography and just good layout, and it just works really well. Like why don't more camera manufacturers make nice design? Like come on, put a little bit of effort in. Now I will say though, my usual shooting style is very much through the EVF. I shoot probably 95% of the time through the viewfinder. And of course this camera doesn't have a viewfinder, it's just on the screen. So it is kind of designed for shooting from the hip and sort of looking down on things, which is fine, which is great. The screen is good, it's a very good screen. However, I do miss having a viewfinder, and I think that's why there are just two completely different cameras that exist. There's the X2D with the viewfinder, different ergonomics with the grip and everything, and then of course this camera, which satisfies a completely different audience. So depending on which camp you're in, there's an option for you if you are looking to buy this camera, which by the way, I'm not expecting many people are, because damn, it's an expensive camera. It's like $10,000 or so with a lens and the rest. So yeah, there's a particular audience who are interested in these cameras. Now, although this does have a tilty screen, it only tilts to view from above. So there's been a few times where I've been trying to get shots of things kind of overhead, like holding the camera up high, and I literally can't see. Like, I can't angle the screen down, and the brightness of the screen just kind of like matching some of the reflections of the sun I'm getting here. I just couldn't see, so I'm composing in the dark. I did manage to get some images, but it was a noticeable thing that I kind of was surprised when it happened. I was like, oh yeah, this is an issue again. This is like cameras from 10, 15 years ago before we had tilty screens. Yeah, something to be aware of. Oh my god, it is so bright and I can't really see the screen. So, one thing, danger. Come on. Taking it. Just a little too slow. That's the one thing I was actually going to mention. I've noticed as I've been shooting with this, so of course this camera does force you to slow down a little bit, and you've got to kind of like take your time and just really frame things and, you know, be a little slower. There are moments like that where something happens and my brain is like, oh, I've got to see it, I've got to take a shot. And so I frame, and I had time there, trains coming through. Admittedly, it is a little difficult because it's a train. And I'm pre-composed and I'm pre-focused. And then when I hit the shutter, I just miss it a little bit. And that's one thing I think, again, is potentially down to just the ergonomics and design of it, which is just further building up this image in my head between this and the X2D, of which camera I think suits me well. And I'm pretty sure you can work it out by now. I'm very much enjoying this camera, and the images, editing them and everything, like they're so flexible and like amazing color coming through, and the sharpness, of course, the detail. So interestingly, with Hasselblad, they only have the one color profile. They're, what's it, the HNCS, the Hasselblad Natural Color something, and science, probably. And yeah, it's just looks great, straight out of camera with a little bit of tweaking, a little bit of pop in Lightroom, and it works well. But the main thing, ergonomics, that's what I always care about most. So one thing that I've noticed when using the 907X is that I've shot most things horizontal, which is kind of normal for cameras really, but I do find that when I'm shooting with other cameras, I'm frequently shooting vertical. And I think that's because a lot of the shooting that I do is actually in cities with tall buildings and sort of like long streets, as well as the fact that I just like tall prints and posting to Instagram as well. The vertical format is very much kind of my style, it fits in the genre. Unless I go traveling into like, whoa, we're getting taken over by a flag here. Unless I go traveling into like the mountains or just nature, then I find that I shoot landscape more. And I think that really suits this camera style because it's a camera that you slow down with. Like the controls aren't fast to use. And so when you're in nature, when you've got more time to spare, you are going to shoot landscape more. So it's just an interesting observation. It's neither a pro nor a con. It's just how it goes. And you just kind of shoot with what you've got, I guess. Oh man, god damn, it is hot. Luckily today it's kind of a dry heat. Alrighty, so it's been about a month or so, 5-6 weeks of shooting with the 97X CFV 100C from Hasselblad, and I've thoroughly enjoyed using this camera, especially seeing the images afterwards. Now I'm going to emphasize that because what I mean is I enjoy the images I take with this camera, specifically the style that comes from this lens. I think this lens is fantastic. The sensor is incredible, the resolution that you can work with, the dynamic range when you're editing. Those 16-bit files, they are a dream to work with. They carry a lot of weight with them. They are heavy files, but they are fantastic files. And so I love the images I get from it. However, I do think the ergonomics of shooting with the box style camera just doesn't quite fit with my style so much. And so where I keep sort of like bringing my mind back and forth between the X2D with the viewfinder, the grip and other things, I'm very much firmly in that camp. But the images between them, kind of identical really, so there's not really a lot of difference there. So yeah, I just think the ergonomics of shooting from the hip versus using the eyepiece is going to split photographers maybe 50-50. And interestingly, when talking with some of my friends who also have some of these cameras, and a lot of them prefer this over the X2D. They've had a better time shooting with it, they feel like they've got better images. I think I'm in the opposite land of that. Not to say I haven't enjoyed the images. I've very much enjoyed the images I've got from this in the 6 weeks or so that I've been using it. And yeah, it's an excellent camera. There are just a couple of extra things that are maybe a downfall to it, which I think are missing. And that is, there is no IBIS on the sensor. So this is not a stabilized sensor, this is not a stabilized lens. I know historically that's been pretty tricky with larger sensors, but if they want to compete with today's technology, I think that's a next move for Hasselblad really. Yeah, that's something that's kind of missing from this, especially when you go to some of those low light scenarios and you just want that extra stabilization without needing to put it on a tripod. And secondly, just like some hardware in here, I was a little bit disappointed that when I opened the box, there's no battery charger. You actually charge the battery through the little USB-C port on the side. I kind of feel like if you're spending a lot of money on a camera that's got, you know, its own bespoke battery, it's not like you've got a catalog of cameras from Hasselblad with chargers coming with each of them. If you're going to buy one of these cameras, you're probably only going to buy one of them, in which case would be nice to have the charger that comes for the battery. It's the only thing that's a little bit annoying because there have been times where I've picked up the camera and it's only been maybe 3 days or so in between shooting and the battery's been dead. And I've been able to pinpoint down to when I use the camera connected to my phone. So it uses the Bluetooth just to sort of maintain connection. And if I've done that on a particular day and then I don't use the camera for a day or two, when I come back to it, the battery has drained significantly more than I would expect. When I've then restarted it and recharged it, I haven't used the app for a while, it maintains the battery. So that's one thing I've noticed and it's a little bit disappointing when you come to use it and it's dead. Whereas if the battery was in a cradle, I could just keep those charged and not have to worry about it. An extra note that's interesting with this camera is just the interest it has from other people. So I take a camera with me every single day that I go places. Even if I'm out drinking, I have a camera with me. And sometimes it's been this camera. And the response you get from people has been wildly different to all other cameras because it looks so different. Now, this of course isn't really a camera you're going to be taking to social occasions. It's not really that style of camera. And maybe one other feature that is also missing from this is video. Now, I hear you saying, this is a Hasselblad, this is for photography, blah, 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 blah. I get what you're saying, but with a sensor this beautiful, I just can't help but wonder what the video is like. And interestingly, I remember on the X1D Mark II, which I also borrowed, when was this? A few years back, there was a video tab in the menu, and funnily enough, it quite literally just said coming soon. And I've never seen that on a camera before. I thought it was hilarious. I don't know if it ever did get video. I know the X2D doesn't have any mention of video, but I just thought that was funny. So I think Hasselblad have ideas for video. They've just never really quite implemented it. I can't help but wonder, what would video be like on this big, beautiful sensor? It's a ponder. It's a ponder. All things considered, this is a camera that I have thoroughly enjoyed. I love the images coming out of it. I hope I can use it again in some other viewpoints and other locations. But for now, that's it. And I look forward to seeing you in another video real soon. And I really, really hope that. I've been better at editing lately. All right, catch you later, everyone. Bye-bye.